Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube video. I paint lots of pet portrait commissions and have helped lots of students with their own dogs and cat paintings. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the biggest mistake I see students make in their work. I will use this recent commission to help illustrate my points. So let's get into the video. It's very tempting to focus on the detail of what you see. For example, trying to paint all the hairs you see in the fur. Do not do this. This will lead to a flat and unconvincing painting. I invariably encounter issues of incorrect value and incorrect temperature. It is usually both together. So what do I mean by value and temperature, and how can you assess whether you are off in your own paintings? Everything in the object you are painting is made up of shapes. We have a number of shapes in this painting. The cat's head is a sphere, the legs a cylinder, and the whole general shape we are seeing here is more cylindrical. When we are trying to create form in an object, the light bends around an object, and we have to suggest this light in our painting. So some areas near the light source will be lighter, some further away will be darker. If we take a sphere as a simple example, you will see if I paint it in one value, I get a very flat looking object. If I paint it in a range of values from dark to light and indicate a light source coming from the right, you will see the object suddenly looks more realistic. Furthermore, if I adjust the temperatures of my object to ensure I have both warm and cool temperatures, it will make my shape look even more realistic. This is the biggest mistake artists make when painting animals. They focus on the detail rather than the values and the temperatures. Let's have a look at how I painted this kitty cat whilst focusing on my values and my temperatures. If I turn this painting into black and white, you will see I have a very narrow value range in the cat and also quite a narrow value range in the background. Therefore, the form will be controlled mainly by correct temperature. If I use just black and white, it will not work. Black is a cool colour, white is a cool colour. Therefore, there will be an absence of warm temperatures. I will end up with a flat, chalky looking painting. I therefore need to mix colourful blacks and colourful greys. How do I do this? Let's have a look at my palette. I am using the following colours: cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre light, transparent yellow oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, transparent red oxide, ultramarine deep and titanium zinc white. I've also mixed up a few other colours that are not on my palette, a black red and a black green. When I mix these two together, they give me a black, a purple, two oranges and another green. In order to ensure I have both warm and cool temperatures in this cat's fur, I can mix some of my dark value colours together. The easiest way to do this is to use opposite colours because one will always be warm and the other will be cool. In this instance, I'm using red and green. Red is my warm and green is my cool. You'll notice I transition between these two colours throughout the painting. And where it lightens as the light bends around the shapes, I add my cadmium yellow to a mixture of these two that is heavier on the black green. Notice how much that changes the colour and gives me a sense of form. For the lighter colours, I am using either of these two oranges and either my blue or my black green plus white. Depending upon which orange I use, depends upon the colour I get. This orange will give me a much more saturated, warmer grey than this one. And if I want to push it darker, I can add my black. And the addition of this yellow will give me lighter, warmer browns. Notice how I have suggested this fur. I have done this by painting alla prima and working wet on wet and manipulating my paint with a long-haired soft brush. You will need enough paint on your canvas to do this. To get this effect, you'll need a long soft brush like an eclipse comber, and you'll want to try and keep it away from solvent. If you do need to clean the brush, make sure no solvent remains on the hairs because it will take the paint off and make it hard to lay alla prima. You then take the brush and pull one colour into the other. If your paint is relatively stiff, it will make this process much easier to do. The wetter your paint, the more likely you are to get into trouble pulling your edges about. You'll notice that you only really need to suggest this fur to make it look fluffy. Getting the correct value and temperature is much more important. Working with colourful greys is very similar. You just mix opposite colours together and add white. Here I have used a combination of this orange and this blue plus white to give me this grey. I'll get a much more muted grey if I swap my oranges for this one, so I alternate between those two combinations, making sure in some areas my grey is cooler, so I use more blue, and in some areas warmer, I use more orange. I also use a combination of yellow and purple plus white. I use this purple and my cadmium yellow light. Notice in some areas it is more yellow, but in some areas I have added more purple. This gives me a very different grey, but the constant shift between warm and cool helps create a more realistic painting. I will briefly mention the whiskers as I do get asked about this quite a lot. The best way is to scratch them out with the back of a brush and then use something like a rigger brush plus a light grey plus a lot of medium to make your paint very buttery and paint the wider sections in. If the scratches are too prominent, just use a comber brush with a little rich black and pull some paint over the top. To recap then, when painting cats and dogs, don't focus on detail. Focus on your values first. Try turning your reference photo into black and white to help you. Then try and work out your temperatures. Make sure they are both warm and cool colours in your painting. Use opposite colours to help you. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.